Hi, my name's Billy, I read books and I've read The Righteous by David Wragg. This is book number 2 in his Articles of Faith duology. It was published in 2021 and it's about 580 pages long. This is the second book in that duology. It follows on from the Black Hawks, the first book, which I liked. Now, did I like this more or less than that? Let me tell you. So this book picks up not long after the concluding events in book 1, where the characters that we're following are in this certain situation and they have to get themselves out of this situation. And the action is, and the pace of the book is pretty fast right from the word go. And the first half of the book, you're with Vendron, you're with Tarful, the prince, and the rest of the Black Hawks. And this is when the book is at its best, in my opinion, in the first half of the book, because that is when the Black Hawks are mainly together. This is when they're effing and jeffing, slagging each other off, insulting each other, and coming up with all manner of different variations on how you can insult someone using the F word. And it's really good. It's really impressive that David Wragg, the author, can think of so many different swear words and insults that always feel fresh and cutting. The problem with that, though, is that at some point the story has to progress and the story and the plot of the book has to move on, which is a shame, because I would be quite happy just to follow the Black Hawks around doing whatever it is they're doing and just observing them behaving as they do. But sadly the plot has to move on, and this is where, in my opinion, the story lacks any real substance. The places that the characters visit, they're not generic, but it goes something like this. The characters get to this new place, it gets described, story continues. You don't really need to know anything about the description of the place, the town, the city, the buildings or anything. It was just there, because then the story and the camaraderie and the insults and the banter and the fighting happens. They move on to somewhere else, description of the place. Don't really have to read it, doesn't really matter. You just need to know they're now somewhere new. Generic fantasy place, A, story continues. And the story itself in the second half of the book, to me, was just a bit like generic fantasy story. And the fight scenes are a bit like generic fantasy fight scenes, really. I was never particularly over invested. There is a bit of consequences to some of the actions, and you do get some tragic encounters, which didn't really affect me too much, which makes me then question, how invested I actually am with the characters that I'm following. Which is a shame, because I was hoping maybe it could have a bit more of an emotional punch with me, but it didn't. And then the ending of the book is, I can't really tell you what the ending of the book is, because I've already forgot, because it was generic ending to a fantasy book. So it's a strange one, this book. It's a strange one, this series, because there is a lot going for it. If you like what you read in the first book, then I'd definitely say give this book a go, because you do get more of the same. It's just, in my opinion, don't be expecting something groundbreaking. Don't be expecting, this is going to sound really bad and I don't mean it this way, don't expect something massively different from book 1, because you get what you got in book 1, and I can see an improvement in what David Wragg has done in terms of his writing, the way he's structured the story, the way he has tried to tug on the heartstrings. And maybe it's just me being a cold-blooded, heartless, dead inside bald man, I don't know. Someone else might find that more impactful. But all in all, my brief summary of this is, first half is good, second half is generic. I'm glad it's only a duology. I'm glad he didn't try to spin this out into a trilogy or more. I think it did what it needed to do. David Wragg excels at the camaraderie and the banter and the insults and the humour. He excels in that massively. And the fact I've seen a progression from book 1 to book 2 says that his new book that he's got out, I think it's called The Hunters, whatever it's called, I'll put it there. I've got that. I will read it, because I like to see a progression in what an author's doing, a bit of improvement. So I'm really interested to see what he does in this book. Hopefully he plays with strengths, but he expands and develops a bit more. So anyway, The Righteous, 3 out of 5. I'm glad I read it. The cover's amazing. I hope you'll like it. I'll chat to you in the comments. Like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye. So this book picks up not long after the concluding events of book 1, and not long. Oh, come on, okay, no, come on. So this book picks up not longer after.